Star Wars, Episode 3 of the Acolyte. Episodes 1 and 2, kind of a standard fare for these Disney Star Wars live action series. Not much to say, not much that really drew my attention. Kind of boring, kind of the stale, typical, boring characters, dumb plot, everyone's acting stupid to make things happen, bunch of contrivances, a mystery that really isn't that much of a mystery and is immediately solved, and again, poor acting, poor writing in general. So, on to episode 3. Episode 3 starts off on the planet Brendok. This is the flashback episode where we get to see what actually happened to the twins, who died, who caused it, and what really got us going into this current adventure we've had for the first couple of episodes. The episode starts with Osha sitting under a tree, the same tree that was used to extract the poison used to kill Master Tobin in episode 2. Osha sees this planet's version of, I guess, a butterfly. She uses the force to stop it in its tracks, hold it for a bit, and then decides to let it go. May then shows up and does the same thing, but more aggressively. Holding that thing, it clearly shows that it's in pain, and Osha then yells at May to break her out of whatever weird trance she was in. May kind of shows early signs of almost serial killer vibes here. She unconsciously just grabs this thing using the force, doesn't let it go, and inflicts pain, showing no real empathy for what's going on or awareness for what's going on around her. Osha yells at May, "Why do you always have to do things like that?" Paraphrasing, but that's basically what she says. Which was ironic because she basically held the butterfly in limbo as well and didn't let it do what it wanted to do. So she's not too far off from May. Don't know why she's acting high and mighty here. She basically did the same thing, but May was also a little kind of aggressive. We then have a back and forth with those two. May knows this is where she goes, her being Osha, of course. When she wants to get away and she can't find her, she knows that she's there. But they also reference, hey, we need to get back before we're missed or we'll get in trouble. So they head out and get out of there. The main takeaway from this first scene is that the young actresses that play these twins, not great. They both are not very good at conveying the emotions that need to be accompanied by these lines they're trying to deliver. They are in the forest, and they're met up by a female version of Darth Maul. Long hair, blue face paint, but the main takeaway, obviously, is we have these horns similar to Darth Maul. She chastises them, tells them it's not safe, and they leave, heading back to their village. And then we cut back real quick behind them, and we notice, oh, look, it's Saul, tracking them in the woods. This next issue is a Star Wars one. I'm not sure why Saul is being so secretive. The Jedi go around the galaxy, they look for Force-sensitive children, and they just make sure that they tell everyone involved, whether it be guardian, parent, whoever's looking after these children, that they need special upbringing or awareness or caution because they have these special abilities. And whether or not they join the Jedi or not, you have to be aware that these people can tap into the Force much more easily than everybody else. This is not just for the child and to make sure that they're getting the best care they can get and that they're actually being brought up in a way that is going to help their gift, but also protection of everyone around them. And this is something that's commonplace, even in this High Republic era, which is roughly 87 some odd years before Phantom Menace. The Jedi have been operating for thousands of years, so this is something that should already be known and commonplace and something that they should have done constantly through trips throughout the galaxy. We then cut back to the two girls being led by their mother back into the village that's at the very top of a mountain, kind of hollowed out the peak with different stone structures, different layers to this community. Their mother wants to punish the two girls for leaving, teach them a lesson, give them a firm hand, apply some discipline. So, she says they're not going to have some sort of delicacy that is enjoyed by the people in this village. But all hope is not lost for the girls. Another woman emerges. They run to her, also calling her mother, and she says that they deserve, obviously, to have treats, to be happy, and that everything will be fine. Now, for you people out there that are rational, logical human beings, your ears will already perk up. Wait a second. You said also mother. So that's two mothers for these twins. And that would be correct, yes. These twins do not have a father. They were, as we find out later in the episode, but we might well get to it now, they were conceived through the Force. The first mother that we met, Darth Maul female mother, she carried them in her womb. The other one that we learn is basically the leader of this coven, used the Force to create these twins. The girls head off, and we get a conversation, mother to mother, off to the side. The Darth Maul mother is worried about the safety of the twins because they know the Jedi have been flying around. The other mother acknowledges this, but says that I knew we would be safe here in this area, which is kind of ironic. The Coven is, as I said, perched up, I think, the largest mountain on the planet based on the shot we get, the opening shot of the village. So why do you think that you're not going to get spotted or recognized by the Jedi? Seems kind of foolish to me. Also, there's the matter of you already knew the Jedi were here. They didn't see you or did see you. I don't know how you think you're going to hide from them. It seems kind of foolish. Seems like something that you should just meet head on and then see what happens later as a result. We are then led to everyone's favorite scene, a training room, where we learn that the Jedi have been wrong this whole time. The leader of this coven, the second mother, not the Darth Maul mother, the other mother. There's two of them. They have two mothers. She says that some people call it the Force, and that they would use it as a weapon. This is obviously condescending and belittling to the Jedi Order. That's the whole point of this scene. In her monologue, she goes on. She goes on by saying that the thread connects all living things together, and that it controls the destiny of us all, how we interact, how our lives play out, and that it's all basically harmonious as we all are connected and we all work together. Now, again, for you logical, rational, beautiful people out there, you're probably like, wait a second, my ears are perking up again. That sounds awfully familiar. I think if wait, I think that's how the Jedi described the Force in prior movies, specifically Obi-Wan in original Star Wars or New Hope, depending on if you're an OT or a prequel person. And then how Yoda also described the Force in Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. So then your next logical, rational question is, what was the point of any of this? I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. We're just here wasting time, as always. She goes on this huge, grandstanding monologue. We're great, Jedi suck. We use the thread they call it a force, but there's no difference. But the best part of this scene happens when, after her monologue, which included the fact that they do not use, they, of course, being the Coven, not the Jedi suck. The Coven's all that really matters. They don't use the thread, quote unquote, as a weapon. You could probably guess what happens, you logical, rational, beautiful people out there, like most of these Star Wars, Disney Plus shows. She then contradicts herself immediately and uses the Force, thread, as a weapon. She wants to put on a display for the girls that are watching all of this transpire. She has a woman, member of the Coven, step up, and they lock in this force push, kind of tug of war. She struggles a bit with the woman as she tries to resist her, but then she overcomes her and pushes her back. The mother follows this up by turning to the girls and saying, "The power of one." Another woman steps forward. She then assists the original woman in locking again, hands up in the air, in a tug of war force push with the mother. The mother has a more difficult time this time around. We have two women that we're trying to push back as opposed to one. She struggles a bit to push these two back, but ultimately she gets the job done. Both fly back as she pushes them forward in almost a weird Kamehameha wave style format, which again shows that people writing this show have no idea what it should look like when someone uses the Force. She then turns to the girls because the lesson is over. She, of course, being the expert teacher that she is, obviously a lot better teacher than myself, she has the power of two, which, again, those ears are probably perking up. How does this lesson make any sense? She still overcame them and pushed both women back. So this doesn't really work as an effective lesson to teach the two girls that they should stay together or work together. They're better together than they are by themselves. So the lesson really is not much of a lesson at all. It just wastes our time yet again. We're in this training room. We're insulted as Star Wars fans by being told the thread matters and not the force, and then she wastes time showing us this lesson that didn't actually show the girls that they should stick together. While this lesson is going on, the two girls are not paying attention, being annoying, constantly picking at each other. The main crux of the problem between the two of them, May wants to stay with the coven, wants to be here, she should be a witch, why wouldn't you want to be a witch? Osha, on the other hand, wants to get out of here, doesn't really want to be a witch, wants to see what else is out there. That is basically the central conflict between the girls. How do we know this? They just keep telling you. They will just flat out say multiple times throughout the episode, I want to stay here. I don't want to be a part of this coven. Why do you want this? I want this. Why wouldn't you want this? And they just flat out say this. There's no nuance. There's no interesting way of showing this through their actions. There's no actual motivation or reasoning given from either their perspectives as to why they want what they want. They just do, and they just keep repeating it, and it just influences basically the episode itself. Again, that phenomenal writing is on display. Everything is just told to you. Expository dialogue, on the nose, nothing subtle, nothing great, nothing creative, nothing well executed. Just nothing but garbage spewed in your face. We then move to the scene that everyone that has watched this episode just adores. They, they of course being our two twins, will ascend to becoming witches in this ceremony in the square of the village. What is the ceremony, you might ask? Well, it's this weird just dance. All the women in this coven, which, by the way, they keep constantly saying that the power of many, the collective, no individualism, which is why I keep calling them a communist coven. They're all moving their hands and gyrating in this weird, it almost has like a tribal hum vibe to it as they're constantly saying, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. That's not actually how they say many in a much more cringe way that'll make your skin crawl. I'm not going to do it because I have too much self-respect, but it's it's pretty bad. The two twins are then led up the stairs as the women basically part ways, allowing first their mother, not the Darth Maul mother, the second other mother, to come up and lead this procession first. The twins then follow closely behind as they go up the stairs, then they stop in front of their mother, the chanting stops, finally, and the mother then gives a speech. The crux of the speech, again, more expository dialogue, giving them history, which they should all know by now, that the coven was at the brink of extinction before, of course, finally a miracle gave them life. Again, you might be saying, brink of extinction, but what happened there? Why brink of extinction? What's the issue? Well, again, I told you, nothing but lesbian coven, so no way to reproduce. Not even the brink of extinction could lead any of these women to maybe take one for the team, get with a dude, reproduce, maybe continue this coven. No, we were just going to let ourselves be extinct, but thankfully, through the miracle of the force, thread, we were then able to create these lovely twins that are before us. As the ceremony is going on, two moons are converging in the night sky. The mother, the main mother, again, not the Darth Maul mother, the other one, takes her two hands and grabs force energy and places her hands then on May's forehead. This then leaves a tattoo on May's forehead, the circular tattoo that we saw in the first couple of episodes. Then it's Osha's turn. Osha, like May before her, is supposed to recite basically a couple things back and forth that their mother already provides for them. Do you want to be part of the coven? Will you follow our creed and protect the yada yada yada? But Osha is a little hesitant. She eventually ends up saying, yes? Thankfully for Osha, she is saved by the bell in the form of our 4 Jedi that have finally shown up. The 4, of course, that have been the targets of the first couple of episodes that will be these Jedi that will be assassinated because of their wrongdoing at this point in time. And there they all are. We have, of course, Trinity. We have Torben, who's younger and not yet a master. He's the Padawan of Trinity. We have Saul, and then we have Wookiee Jedi. I know that's not actually his name, Wookiee Jedi, but that's how I can remember him. So, yeah, there you go. He's a Wookiee Jedi. That's basically all he is. It's not like there's going to be much of a personality beyond the fact that they're like, look, It's a Wookiee that's also a Jedi. You've never seen that before, so isn't that amazing? And we're just like, no, not really. The conversation between the two groups basically starts off with Trinity saying, "We know there are children here. We basically have the right to train them as Jedi, and anyone else that does this may be doing it for either the wrong purposes or they may be doing it in a way that is unsafe because they are not us. They are not an established organization, so it might be reckless for anyone else to be training children. So we're here. We know you have kids. So let's see them, let's get them tested, and then we can move forward." The mother is like, "You're broken in, you're trespassing, you shouldn't be here." Trinity's like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't think anyone was actually here." This is kind of stupid on both fronts. First off, we have the mother who shouldn't be this confrontational with the Jedi. It doesn't really make any sense, but has a somewhat of a point of, trespassing. This is our place, Trinity. Don't know how you would think no one was here. Obviously, it's very clear that they can see this village. So, both neither side really coming off great here. Witches then do something stupid. I know you're shocked. They do something extremely stupid and they lie to the Jedi. We have no children here. This is obviously quickly snuffed out by the Wookiee. He's like, guys, I see two kids kind of poking their heads out amongst the women, so they've lied. Trinity has them come forward. May doesn't want to, so she just hides. Osha, obviously someone that we already know because she's told us 1,000 times, I don't want to be here. So she then eventually steps forward and comes up in front of Jedi Master Saul. The women get upset with this, and so they kind of lash out, and it seems like the tension's kind of rising. And then Saul, it looks like he's retaliating. He kind of reaches for the lightsaber, and even Trinity's like, "No, Saul, no, no, no." But all Saul does is he slowly takes it off his belt and then hands it to Osha. You can kind of see what the author is trying to go for here. A nice little gesture. We see the early budding moments of the relationship that Osha and her Jedi Master Saul have with each other. A nice little moment here. Hold this lightsaber. Obviously, the main identifier of what a Jedi is. But this is incredibly stupid. This is a deadly weapon, and you're giving it to a child. She could kill her, other people around her, or seriously injure people, cutting off limbs. It could be a massacre with this thing. She has never held a lightsaber. She may not know how to use it. She could easily kill herself, those around her. Not a good idea by Saul. He comes off as a moron in this situation. The head mother of the coven does not like where this is going. So, what does she do? She then possesses Torben using the Force. He is brought to his knees and his eyes go black. Definitely not a smart approach, not really de escalating the situation, and she basically turns to Trinity and says, "You guys need to get out of here if you want your Padawan to return to his right mind." Osha then steps in. "No, Mom, I want to be a Jedi. Give me a chance. Let me be tested." And so the mother eventually relinquishes and says, "Okay, whatever, that's fine. Osha can go and be tested. We'll allow it." And then Saul's like, both girls." And then she agrees, "Okay, both girls." The big issue here, I mean, well, there's many big issues, but I mean, the main one that stuck out for me. Well, first off, we have Trinity basically saying we have the right to test them with your permission, of course, your permission, of course, being the mother's permission, which obviously contradicts itself. If you have the right to do something, why would you need permission? But the big one for me, it didn't sound alarms to the Jedi that, oh my gosh, this woman just used the dark side to possess this guy. She brought a Jedi literally to his knees, and we like almost act like it never happened. None of the Jedi like draw their lightsabers in defense. None of them like retaliate in any way. Not that that's necessarily the smartest way to go. We don't know how powerful these witches are, but you can assume that all of them know how to use the Force and that they're tapping in to the dark side. This is something that is immediately in opposition to the Jedi. They should recognize this. This is a problem. These women, we don't know how powerful they are. We know how powerful the main woman is, but we know this coven is in opposition to everything we stand for as Jedi, as an order. So even if you could say, okay, maybe not a good idea to draw lightsabers or do a sign of Force here in front of them, high stakes, things to get bad. Let's go back to the ship after they've done the back and forth with, okay, we agree to test the girls, fine to test the girls, no problem. We'll agree because the mother agrees basically because she doesn't want to upset Osha. We agree, we're testing both girls, whatever, we're moving on. When they go back to their ship, however, that's when I would be like on the phone with Coruscant, like, hey guys, we've got these terrible, terrible, terrible witches that are holding these kids. They can use the dark side. We need backup because they just attacked Torben, basically put him on his knee. We get nothing but a ho hum response. And then later on, the next day, when we see the Jedi again, because May and Osha are brought to the ship to be tested, there's no like reference of, hey, your mothers, by the way, they're evil. Like, what do you guys do here? What is going on in this coven? This continues to be a problem of we have no answers of what the coven is, what do they do, what is the purpose, why are they in opposition to the Jedi, how long have they existed? And this is a huge issue, and it's just not addressed, not brought up. They just move on casually. After the Jedi leave, we have an emergency meeting with the Witches' Council. What are we going to do with these Jedi? What is going to happen? What's the next step? One of the advisors, someone that shouldn't be invited to any of the future advisory meetings, well, there won't be any. We'll discover that later. She basically says, just kill him. Who's going to miss him? 4 Jedi. Who cares? She's obviously a moron. This is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. I don't know how your coven operates, but the Jedi actually care about each other. If 4 of them went missing, they would care. They would notice. And you would put them on high alert. There's an issue here. They went to Brendok. We need to investigate. This would eventually lead to this lesbian witch communist coven being completely obliterated and wiped off the face of the galaxy because you can't just go around killing 4 Jedi and expecting no repercussions, especially when the Republic is at the highest point of power it's ever been. Well, anyway, so that was stupid. As the conversation continues, we basically come up with the idea, well, let's just have the girls lie. If they lie and basically say, oh, we're not really that force sensitive, and project that to the Jedi, then the Jedi will eventually leave us alone and we'll go back to life as it was. The head mother then takes this to both girls as they're in basically their bedroom, getting ready to go to bed. Big day tomorrow, we gotta go meet the Jedi. She basically tells them, whatever's in your heart, say the opposite. Osha again says, I don't want to lie. Lying's bad, and plus I might want to be a Jedi. Seems like fun. I don't want to be here anymore. She has again said this multiple times to this woman. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be a witch. I don't want to be a part of this coven. I want to go out, see the galaxy, see what else is out there. And the mother, along with all the other witches that are shown in this episode, is portrayed as being a terrible, horrible, horrible person who will just refuse to allow this girl to do what she wants. She clearly is saying, I want to get out of here, and she is refusing to let her leave. Now you might be saying, well, she's allowing her to go down and be tested, so what's the problem? Well, she later on tells her, I know you want to be a Jedi, and we will consider your wish when we meet and discuss what we're going to do next. So basically, it's the illusion of choice, but Osha has no real choice or free will in this society. When the 2 girls get tested, we immediately fast forward through May. May goes up to her and says, I lied, it worked out, everything's fine, no problem. Osha, after briefly speaking to the Wookiee Jedi, goes up and it is her turn now to be tested. Jedi Master Saul, Squid Game person, basically has the same iPad on a stick that they had in Phantom Menace when they were testing Anakin. You have objects that appear on the screen that only the Jedi Master can see, and the Padawan to be has to guess what those objects are. This is just a basic, simple test. Is this kid force sensitive? Were we right in coming here in the first place? Osha then guesses what's on the screen. She guesses wrong, but Saul says, correct. She guesses again, and then Saul again says, correct, even though Osha, yet again, guessed the wrong thing. After the second attempt, Osha gives herself away by saying, wait, it wasn't a oh, and that's how we find out that she was lying. Not a very subtle, well written, clever way of showing us this, but we have the slip up by her, and then that's how Saul knows that she was lying. He then questions her, did someone tell you to lie in this test? She says, yes, they don't want me to come with you. And then Saul asks Osha, what do you want? And Osha's like, I want to be a Jedi. Then Saul tells her about his upbringing. Basically, I was younger. I was 4 years old when I was taken. The Jedi will help harness your skills. There are a ton of children, thousands, he said, like you and me. Osha then leaves the ship. When May says, how's it go? She hangs her head. May then gets extremely upset, knowing that Osha did in fact tell the truth, pass the test, and she will soon be leaving to become a Jedi. Shortly after the scene where the mother says, "We will respect your wish, Osha, when we talk about whether or not you're going to be allowed to go," basically, we have a scene where the two girls are in their bedroom. Osha is packing, getting ready to go. May again continues, "I don't want you to leave." It's been pretty innocuous banter between the two girls so far. Then all of a sudden it takes a big turn. Oh, May is basically like, when confronted by Osha, like Osha's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" May's like, "I could kill you." And it's like, whoa, hold on. How did we get to this point? All of a sudden you want to kill her now. And she she gives it in this basically stone face, cold killer. She basically turns into the butterfly strangler that she was at the beginning of the episode. She then exits the room and the door locks from the outside, keeping Osha in. And it's like, why do the doors lock from the outside? And it's like, oh, that's right, because this is a terrible lesbian witch communist coven that wants to basically keep these girls hostage. May then finds this weird lamp thing, which is a cylinder with two exhausts at the top, and she takes it to a book that Osha had in her room that's shaped like a triangle for some reason, and she lights that book on fire and drops it outside the door. This creates the large, all consuming fire that we heard about from the prior two episodes that's basically led to this story happening. May then basically leaves her sister to die. Osha panics. She somehow hot wires the window or laundry chute thing that's in her room. I don't even know what it is, and I don't know how she had the skills to know how to do this, but she does, and she escapes that. She then goes through basically a back way workman's shaft thing, and it leads to a corridor, and then all of a sudden we are on a bridge that is that is split in two because, again, very subtle visual imagery there. We see the village, bunch of people dead in the background, and then we have May and Osha basically confronting each other on this halved bridge. The two then have the back and forth of great dialogue, basically just saying, "What did you do? What did you do? What did you do?" And Osha, of course, being in the right here, getting that final "what did you do" in there because May set the fire that spread. Now I don't know how it spread. It's concrete and stone village, but she set the fire that basically killed everybody in the village, apparently. Saul then just so happens to be here. I don't know how he knew to come here or what he was doing there, but he's there just in time to see the bridge that May and Osha are on collapsing. The half that May was on falls down before Saul can get there. He probably could have saved her with the force, but he doesn't. And then he grabs Osha by the hand before she can fall down. Saul then leads Osha out of the village. On the way there, they have a bunch of the women that they come across collapsed on the ground, the mother being one of them, and Osha wants to save them, but Saul's like, "There's no time, they're already dead, let's get out of here." And so, yeah, I don't know why they're dead or how they died. I guess they just ran out of oxygen, but there you go. All the witches are dead. So that's convenient, I guess. We then move to Osha waking up on the ship with a ventilator, and Saul says, "May started a fire, they all died, and that's it. I'm going to take you to Coruscant, and I'm going to train you personally as my Padawan." We then cut to May, who is alive, surprised, but not really, because we knew she was alive, because she's been in the past episodes, her future self has, so we already knew that. And she's by the tree that she and Osha normally hang out at when she can't find Osha, and oh no, Osha's not there, so there you go. That's how the episode ends. The big thing with these episodes, really, this episode 3, even though it's gotten all the buzz, it's no different than lot of these episodes. We have basically, what was it, 40 minutes, and like nothing happened. Like the whole idea behind this is there's this mystery. Something happened. May was wronged. This acolyte was wronged, and her master. And so they're on this revenge quest. But we never learned in this flashback episode really what the issue was and what actually happened. We see the fire, but there was never any clear motivation as to why people wanted to do what they wanted to do, what issue this coven had with the Jedi, why did Osha want to leave, why did May want to stay, how did a fire actually spread in this village of concrete cement. And we'll probably have some other flashback that shows it from May's perspective, and it probably will turn out to be the Jedi were more of culpable in this situation than we thought. Hopefully that other flashback happens for the show's sake, because what we got so far did not prove to justify why Torben killed himself, why Trinity was attacked and killed by May. None of the motivation for the show makes sense unless we get some better flashback that shows the Jedi were at fault in some way. So there you have it, episode 3. Poorly written, poorly executed. Why are we here? What is this franchise? What happened? I don't know what we're doing. We just wasted time for 40 minutes. There's really no reason behind this show. The mystery is pointless. The characters, none of them are interesting. And we just continue to bastardize what used to be a once great franchise. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you, folks, and I'll see you next time.